Bhakti Yoga, chapter 12, verses 8 and 9 today. We continue to contemplate as to how to show our devotion. In the verse 8, Krishna says, steadily train your mind to think about me. Train your intellect. If you do that, then I will be steadily with you, guaranteeing moksha. That's what Krishna says in that verse. But then we start thinking, is it feasible? Steadily, all the time, I have to keep this in my mind, keep God in my mind, or during performing all my duties, my errands, my actions, inactions, everything, whatever I do, I must have this spiritual thought. I know I don't have the maturity to practice that. So what's the alternative? I cannot do this constantly. So Krishna says in verse 9, I know your weakness as a human. If you are unable to keep me constantly in your mind, then set aside some practice. Form a habit of spending time for spiritual thoughts. That I can do. That, I believe, is the origin of traditions in our culture. The rituals. What we see our parents do, we do. If not in the same form, in some form, some other form perhaps. Every Friday, I can hear a bell ring, and the moment my memory triggers of the sloka, Om Yopam Pushpam Veda, the smell of the offerings, the food, the aroma of, in my household it was rice, parpu dal, ghee, and payasam, parpu payasam, and perhaps some other vegetable. That smell, right now, I can smell that, along with the incense and the mental video of my mother, my father, circling and then doing namaskaram, and I'm doing that too. They give you a little bit of flowers and you're doing that too. Then you get some milk to drink, and eventually you get that food too. So that habit forming is necessary. If I didn't do that exactly the same way, there are things that we do in our own, within our limitations of this modern times. Whatever we do, in whatever style we do it, but as long as we do and we follow certain rituals, and that will continue to the next generation. And there is also mixture of cultures, or mixture of traditions. So I bring in some traditions, my spouse brings some traditions. Combination of traditions, it says there is synergy in it. Not antagonistic. Your tradition is better than mine, mine is better than yours, and then yours is better than mine. There is conflict. Neither will survive. But synergy, your tradition plus my tradition, makes it a more enhanced new tradition. And that kind of traditions are necessary for to pass on to the next generation for their spiritual thoughts. That's one purpose. But within our lifetime, I have to be spiritual too. And this practice helps me do so. And the continuance is important. And that's what is stressed in verse 9. Form such habits. They are good habits. I mean, of course, children learn bad habits from their parents as well, and those are to be avoided. And a tradition like this, spending time in spiritualism, is a wonderful thing to pass on to. That's one way of showing devotion, I believe. And that is 8 and 9.